Hello everybody and welcome back to another tipping video on the channel. First time in 3 weeks I've made a tips video. Been sick and busy with schoolwork the last 2 or 3 weeks, however long it's been since I last made one of these. But we are finally back, so we are about to head into round 17. But first of all, let's look back at my round. Let's actually look back at my last 3 rounds of tipping. So round 14 was one of the bye rounds with only 6 games. It was a perfect 6 out of 6. I needed that because previously I think I'd gotten I had 2 rounds where I'd only gotten 2 tips right for the whole round in a row. So I needed that 6 out of 6, and I backed it up with another 6 out of 6. So that was pretty good. Got the margin off by a fair bit in that round. And then last round I also got 6, but unfortunately it was a full round, so it wasn't another perfect round, but I'll still take the 6. It's an alright score. I think my ranks have gone up a bit. But yeah, without further ado, let's get into round 17. So we're going to be kicking things off with Collingwood vs Essendon, a blockbuster matchup. It is 4th versus 6th, so it should be a very, very entertaining match between 2 bitter rivals. Collingwood obviously coming off a loss against the Suns, who the Suns are a very good team at home. They had a few players back, still a fair few on the injury list, and I think they have a few more players on the injury list now, like Bo McCreary's out for 6 weeks, and I believe there was a couple others, but yeah, they still have a fair few injuries. Essendon, I'm still not completely sold on them. They have a percentage of below 100, and they're in the top 4. I don't think they've really beaten too many top contending sides this year, so I'm not really sold on them. This will be a tough one to tip. I don't know. I think I'm going to go with Collingwood, just in another close one. Yeah, I'm really not sold on Essendon yet. I don't think that they are a genuine contender yet. Collingwood, I still think they are a pretty good team, and even with all the injuries that they've had, they've stood up pretty well, won more games than they've lost, so I think I'm going to tip Collingwood in this one. North Melbourne taking on the Gold Coast Suns. So the Suns have not won away from home for the entire season, but there probably isn't going to be a better opportunity to finally snap that streak here. Their last 13 games away from home, so that's this year's games and last year's game, they have all lost. That is the second longest streak for away losses in the club's history, and their longest streak was back in like 2011, 2012, when they were like a basket case, and were just fielding a team full of 18, 19-year-olds. So that's a pretty crazy streak. I think it ends here. As good as North Melbourne have been, I can't see them beating the Suns. Now, the Suns did lose to the Saints a few weeks ago, and they are not very good either. In fact, they're probably arguably going worse than North Melbourne right now. It's at the same ground. I mean, if Gold Coast don't win this game, they might never win away from home again. Like, seriously, it's gotten quite ridiculous at this point. But I think they should win this one, so I'll tip them by 22 points. Port Adelaide taking on the Dogs. How do you get a read on either of these two teams? I mean, the Dogs are probably the most inconsistent team in the competition. Port Adelaide haven't had a very good last 4 or 5 weeks. They beat the Saints just. That second half in particular was just terrible, though, from both teams. It was an absolutely awful game to watch. Nothing convincing about that win at all. It's at the Adelaide Oval. They'll want to redeem themselves after the disaster that was the Brisbane game. That was the last time they played Adelaide Oval. I think I'm going to tip the Dogs, though. I have more faith in them right now, although they are super inconsistent. Weren't superb against North Melbourne, only beat them by 17 points. Although the week before that, or a couple weeks ago before that, absolutely smashed Freo, so it's really hard to get a read on them. I'll tip the Dogs in this one by 14 points, but with no real confidence at all. Geelong taking on Hawthorn. This one's in Geelong. and it just should be a very, very good match. I don't think if you had said that this would have been an interesting match at the start of the year, most people probably would have laughed at you. But Hawthorn are going very well right now, and Geelong, they've got themselves back into a bit of form. A very good win, 45 points against Essendon. They were in a bit of a slump before that, but I think that could be the moment that Geelong get their spark back. They've changed around a few things. Sam de Koning's gone into the ruck. He's played well the last couple of games. Tom Stewart went into the midfield against Essendon, so they've changed around a few things, and they may be back in. They may have got themselves back into some good form. I think that even though Hawthorn are on a really good run of form right now, I don't see them beating Geelong at Cardinia Park. So I will tip the Cats in this one. Should be an entertaining game though. I'll tip it to be a close one, 10 points. GWS taking on Carlton. Now this is a GWS home game, but I think Carlton are they've definitely shown themselves to be genuine premiership contenders. Meanwhile, GWS have found themselves outside the top 8, and they aren't looking too great right now. So yeah, this will be. I really can't see them. I really can't see them winning this one. I think Carlton are just going too well right now. They'll probably. Yeah, I'll tip Carlton by 30 points. Right now, I think that Carlton are almost unstoppable. It'll be interesting to see if Carlton and Sydney meet in the finals, because they are definitely the two top seeds. Obviously, Sydney smashed Carlton last time. I think the Blues have gotten better since then. And especially if they meet at the MCG, which looks probably unlikely unless they meet in the grand final. I really hope that doesn't happen. I really don't want to play Carlton in the grand final. That would... I couldn't handle another grand final loss, and I feel like that if we do come up against Carlton in a grand final, I wouldn't be too confident backing us. But that's a fair while away yet, and remains to be seen if either of those teams even make the grand final. But right now, I think that Carlton, they should win this one comfortably. I'll go Blues by 30. Freo versus Richmond, easy tip this one. I don't think I really need to explain myself. Freo smashed the Tigers last time. They beat the Swans. Actually, these are the only two teams to have beaten the Swans all year. So that's an interesting one. I think that Fremantle are comfortably the better side than Richmond, and they should really do a number on Richmond here at home. So I reckon Fremantle by 63 points. Melbourne versus West Coast. Last time these two teams played, West Coast pulled off a shock win, and that was actually the last time West Coast won a game. They've lost their last 5. They're looking not great at the moment. Neither are Melbourne though. They are in some terrible form as well. They just have to win this one though, don't they? They looked better against Brisbane. Really should have won that game. They did everything in their power in that last quarter to lose. Like, I swear, Brisbane, they gave them so many opportunities to put the game away. Brisbane, I don't know how many points they kicked in the last quarter. They ended up with like 20 behinds for the game. And you'd think that, Melbourne would just put the game away eventually after leading by 20 points. But they just kept on keeping Brisbane in the game. And then eventually Brisbane got the lead after Alex Neil-Bullen became a rugby player and scored a try over the line, delivered out of bounds. Then Trent Rivers, I don't know what he was thinking, lining up for the shot only to then just bomb it to a pack in the last seconds of the game. They really have fallen a long way, Melbourne, but they should win this game at home, and I'll tip them by 23 points. St Kilda versus Sydney. Look, I think that loss was a necessary one for us. I think it was a bit of a reality check, and I actually feel a little bit more confident in us now that we have lost that one game. I wouldn't have really wanted us going into finals having just lost the one game for the season all the way back in round 4 or 3 or whenever it was. So I'm kind of glad that we did lose that game. We probably will lose at least one more for the rest of the season. It won't be this game though. I think we should comfortably beat the Saints. I'll go Swans by 43. Brisbane versus Adelaide. Last time these two teams played, it was a draw. Brisbane in some very good form, and Adelaide got a bit of a drought-breaking win at the Gabba. I think that the Lions should get this one done comfortably. The Crows now with not really a whole lot to play for, like they're not a realistic chance to play finals anymore. So maybe we'll start seeing them playing with a bit more freedom in the latter part of the year, but I don't really see them winning this game. And that brings us to the end of round 17. So on top of the ladder, we have Sydney and Carlton still in first and second position. Fremantle all the way up to third. I don't know how they've managed to get themselves up to third position. It feels like they've been an inconsistent team, but pretty much every other team in this part of the ladder has as well. Geelong back into the top 4. Collingwood just outside. Brisbane up to 6th. Essendon slipped down to 7th, and the Dogs in the top 8. Gold Coast just outside, only on percentage in 9th. Melbourne, Port, GWS, Hawthorn in 13th position, and then this bottom 5 has remained the same for the last few rounds. Adelaide 14th, and then the bottom 4, Saints, West Coast, Richmond, and North Melbourne still in bottom position. So that'll bring us to the end of this video. I hope you did enjoy. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Comment down your predictions for the upcoming round in the comment section below, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.